And as a measure of assessing its level of preparedness to handle emergency situations, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, has carried out a mock exercise involving an aircraft with 120 passengers crash landing at the international wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. The exercise is aimed at sharpening the synergy among emergency management agencies as well as ascertaining their capabilities.
Emergency response officers from various agencies try to administer first aid to injured passengers rescued from an Airbus that plunged into a swamp.
I wanted to get one complete process.
The injured are handled and tagged according to the degrees of their injuries. Those with black tags are confirmed dead. The exercise continues at the resuscitation center, where those with serious injuries are treated. All scenes are not real, but simulated.
It's a mock exercise and is a regulatory requirement that we should test our readiness for accident or incidents. An Airbus A330 coming to Murtala Mohammed Airport with 120 passengers on board, crash landing before the runway into a difficult terrain.
Simulation is aimed at evaluating the level of synergy among emergency agencies. Over 10 agencies are involved in this scenario.
Here, we are expected to have 3 major fire tenders. We'll have minor fire tenders, we'll have medium tenders, and we'll have major tenders. But what we use here is 3 major tenders, where each of them is carrying a capacity of water of not less than 10,000 liters. 10,000 liters. And by the category of this airport, the water requirement is above what we have in our vehicle is above right now. Though the aircraft was in a difficult terrain where my men could not easily access it, but that is why we have to enlist the support of assisting agencies, especially LASEMA, who have the necessary with that in terms of equipment and training to access that difficult terrain. And they were there on time. They created a path for us to assess the incident zone, we're able to fight the fire and do our rescue operations.
80% of the agencies responded on time, and at the scene, as they come, we record it. Who came first, which fire truck got there, at what time, what is the time, the response time is supposed to be just within 3 minutes, which we actually met.
The accident simulation is a regular exercise, and when effectively applied, it can save more lives in real emergency situations.
Now for some business stories, here's Anne Waldo. Thanks a lot, Millicent. Let's start business news tonight with Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves. It has fallen further to $36.33 billion as at February the 27th, as the price of crude oil on the international market plunged to around $50. According to latest data coming from the central bank, the latest decline amounts to $442.1 million and $1.84 billion year to date. Recently, the nation's foreign reserves declined from $37.37 billion to $36.69 billion on February the 20th this year, just as the CBN maintains its support for the currency via its weekly forex interventions. Government and corporate bonds sold off today as Nigeria joins a growing list of countries to report cases of the deadly coronavirus. But according to latest data from the securities trading platform FMDQ, the country's benchmark Eurobond also rose to 7.28% compared to 6.95% recorded yesterday. The data from FMDQ also shows that average yields on corporate bonds climbed to 9.27% from 8.98% the day before. Analysts have attributed the sell-off to the knee-jerk reaction by foreign investors to the report of the coronavirus case in Nigeria. And oil prices have fallen to their lowest in more than 1 year today as the spread of this virus raised fears of slowing global demand. International oil price benchmark Brent crude contract for May fell to a 14-month low, down 3.2% at $50.74 a barrel, and a 14-month, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures plunged 5.3% to $44.66 a barrel. Benchmark Brent crude, which fell about 2% on Thursday, has shed around 13% this week, putting it on the track for its biggest weekly decline since January 2016, while U.S. crude has fallen about 14%, and that's its biggest weekly decline since May 2011. Meanwhile, market participants are expecting the recent sell-offs to weaken as soon as the demand fears reduce. And let's go to Angola, where the state oil company Sonangol has said that it will begin to sell its stakes in several private firms in the month of April this year. And that's part of the government's bid to privatize key state assets, including parts of the oil company itself, by the year 2022. The 11 companies include local bank Banco Bar, as well as Sonamet, Sonatip, and Sonadit, which is dedicated to metals, maritime services, and the maintenance of offshore companies, respectively. The country plans to exit full or part ownership of 81 companies this year through public tender, which includes 6 by auction and 3 in IPOs, with 12 sets to be privatized in 2021 and 4 in 2022. Angola, which is Africa's second biggest oil exporter, is struggling with declining oil output and economic downturn, which have now pushed authorities to focus on Sonangol, and that's the country's biggest company. And back to Nigeria, the stock market has ended the last trading day in the month of February with a massive 308 billion naira loss, following investors' concern over the country's dwindling forex reserves. Let's hear more from Teniola Shibowale.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Nigeria's stock market main index fell to its lowest level in 7 months, capping the last trading day of February with more than 2% drop after massive sell-offs swept across the 5 major sectors of the equities market, especially the banking and insurance counters. Traders attribute the market's plunge to concerns over the country's dwindling external reserves, as global oil price benchmark hovers around $50 per barrel, which is far below Nigeria's 2020 budget oil price benchmark of $57, amid reports of the first case of coronavirus in the country. The impact of the sell pressure overwhelmed 41 equities, especially blue chip stocks such as Nigerian breweries, Owando, PZ Cussons, EcoBank Transnational, and Cadbury, which all lost 10%, while only Vitafoam and Flour Mills recorded moderate gains. Meanwhile, overall turnover of equities traded for the day was higher by more than 50% against Thursday's session at 416.3 million total units, led primarily by the shares of GT Bank. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Teniola Shibowale.
Thanks a lot, Teniola. Meanwhile, the impact of the deadly coronavirus is still holding a firm grip on major oil markets around the world in the last trading day of February. Let's see the closing numbers for today. And that's business news on the last trading day of February. We hope for better trading in the month of March. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Millicent.
Back to the coronavirus stories. In Edo State, the government, they've confirmed that an emergency operations center located in Irua and operated through the Nigeria Center for Disease Control is now active and ready to contain any possible outbreak of the virus. The state's Commissioner for Health, Dr. Patrick Okundia, announced this in Benin, also said there was no need for panic, and with over 11,000 athletes and officials being expected during the 20th National Sports Festival.
The sensitization of healthcare workers
across the health facilities, across the 18 local government areas of Edo State has been activated. Surveillance officers have been placed on red alert to carry out active case search in all health facilities, as well as all points of entry to the state, which includes the Benin airports and our various motor parks. We are aware that the National Sports Festival is commencing on the 22nd of March this year, and the Ministry of Health is also part and parcel of the organizing committee. We're involved in the medical subcommittee for this event. Even though before this outbreak, we have considered the possibility and has been part of the plans that have been going on. The medical subcommittee for the National Sports Festival is fully prepared, and all measures in handling cases of coronavirus, Lassa fever, which we are already containing here, has been put in place.
And still on allaying fears, the Ministry of Health, they've also listed some symptoms that everyone should look out for while advising restriction of unusual congregation. The Ministry of Health advises regular and thorough washing of hands with soap and water and use of alcohol-based hand sanitizer, maintaining at least 1.5 meters distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing. It says persons with persistent cough or sneezing should stay home or keep a social distance, but not mix in the crowd. Make sure also that yourself, people around you, follow good respiratory hygiene, meaning cover your mouth and nose with a tissue or into your sleeve at the bent elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze, and also dispose of used tissue immediately. Also, stay home if you feel unwell with symptoms like fever, cough, and difficulty in breathing. Also, you're to call the NCDC toll-free number, which is available day and at night for guidance. That's 0800 970 00010. Again, that's 0800 970 00010. Also, we advise not to engage in self-medication. Still ahead on the news at 10, World Health Organization upgrades coronavirus risk to highest level, insists containment of disease still possible. Also, Nigeria table tennis players secure 3 Olympic tickets in one day as Olufunke Osinaike, Ofyong Edem and Omotayo Olajide qualify for Tokyo 2020 in Tunisia. That's in sports news. Please stay with us.